Hello everyone, it's Lena with Intuitively She TV. I am here with a learning tarot video. This is actually part two. I did an original video going over the basics of tarot, and I felt that there were some things left out. So I did feel that part two is definitely well needed. If you haven't seen the original video, I will put the link to that video in the description, okay? So getting started, we went over some basics when it comes to learning tarot, like where to find a tarot deck that works best for you, interpreting some of the cards, some of the court cards, interpreting some of the elements that are used in a tarot deck. Also, just getting an accurate reading. So we went over those things, which are very highly important. I do want to dig into some more specifics when it comes to learning tarot. Now, like I mentioned before, there are 4 suits in a tarot deck, which are pentacles, there are cups, there are wands, and there are swords. The pentacles are dealing with, financial aspects, our home, our car, our finances, our career, material. This is more of like a material aspect when it comes to the suits of pentacles. Then we have the suit of wands, which deals with emotions, deals with our feelings, whether it's internally, externally, things like that. We have the wands, swords, we have the swords here, and these swords are dealing with like communication, travel, how we interact with others, and things like that. And then we have wands, which are one of my favorite suits. And these wands are going to deal with things like our goals, our wishes, our dreams, the things that we want to manifest, and things that we want to accomplish in life. So each tarot deck, there are going to be 4 suits, whether it's pentacles, cups, swords, or wands, and these suits play a definite role in the story that's coming together when you're doing a reading. Okay, and so another thing about tarot, like I mentioned before, there are 78 cards in each tarot deck. Each tarot deck is different, so it's very important to make sure that you're intuitively connecting and gravitating towards the tarot deck that works best for you. If you want more information on how to go about purchasing a tarot deck, like I mentioned, the link to that video will be in the description of this video. Okay, so there are 78 cards in each deck. The cards are all numbered. Each suit begins with an ace card. So it's going to be like the Ace of Wands, 2 of Wands, 3 of Wands, 4 of Wands, all the way to 10. And anytime that you get an ace card in a reading, whether it's Wands, Pentacles, Swords, Wands, this represents the beginning of a journey. So when you're getting a card like the Ace of Wands, think of it as the beginning of having those ideas, thoughts, your wishes and your dreams, things that you are longing for in your life. When you tie this suit of a wand into an ace card, which represents the beginning of a journey or a path, think of it as the beginning of a journey when it comes to things you want to manifest in your life, things you want to achieve, goals that you want to accomplish. Ace cards are more of thoughts, more feelings, and things internally. When you are presented with an ace card in a reading, it's not so much of an action card, like or that feeling of completion or wholeness. Ace cards are like kind of like like the beginning. So it's more like pulling an ace card, for an example, with wands in a reading would be something like the thought of a journey that you have, or a thought of something that you're looking to accomplish in your life, whether it's at work or an idea that you have. So these are more like ideas of wishes and dreams when it comes to ace cards. And so each suit is going to have the cards going from ace into 10. Ace is more of like an inexperienced level, more thought processes and things like that, versus a 10 card, which is completion and wholeness and fulfillment. Okay? It's very important to pay attention to the illustration and the colors when it comes to tarot cards. Like I mentioned in my previous video, they tell a big story. They not a big story. They actually tell a detailed story. Like with the Eight of Swords. I'm sorry, the Eight of Wands. I keep getting my swords and wands mixed up. Ugh. But like in this card here, take a look at this card. How is this card speaking to you? What messages are lying underneath the picture of this card? So when I see this card, it's vibrant, it's colorful, but then these wands are in a position like it's flying, like it's coming from space, and it's just fierce and it's forceful. So whenever I see this card, I think of it as going after your dreams, going after your hopes and your wishes. This being an 8 card, which is closer to completion and wholeness, like with a 10 card in every suit. This card is about action, and if you pay attention to the illustration in this card, it's like these wands are on a mission. They are going places. This card, it's like the wands knows what it wants and it's going after it without being hesitant. That's the message that I am getting out of this tarot card. And it's going in a direction like there's no stopping it, like it's already in its path. So when you're dealing with tarot readings, look at the illustration, look at the movement or the stillness that you are recognizing in the tarot card. That's definitely going to help you interpret the cards a lot better. Just don't think about it too much. Just look at the illustration, look at what's in front of you, and get a mental picture of what you're seeing. Like I mentioned, wands deal with wishes, dreams, ambition, goals, things like that. And then if you're looking at the picture, it's like it's being forceful, it's on a mission. There are goals that are waiting to be achieved and to be manifested. So this card represents knowing what you want, going after it, already having the resources and the tools that you need to get to where you need to go when it comes to some things in life that you're looking to accomplish. And it's like it's already in motion. It's like it's already happening when you're looking at this picture. Okay? It's really important to pay attention to the illustration and the colors and the human figures as well as their facial expressions. Okay, it's very important. One thing I did want to mention about the tarot cards, when you get a card that's a 5, whether it's 5 of Pentacles, 5 of Wands, okay, 5 of Cups, those cards represent difficulty. And to me, it feels like it's like at the halfway mark when it comes to each suit, because each suit is from ace to 10. And then when you come across a number 5, it's like the 5 is at an idle position, like don't know what to do, don't know where to go, not feeling at ease. I'm trying to find a 5 card here. I have a few decks that I like to work with, and so like I did mention in my previous video, trying to find a 5 card to show you here, and they are all hiding. You're hiding from me. Come on, 5s. Where are ya? Oh, and one thing about the 10s card, representing completion and wholeness, it it doesn't always mean that in a positive way. Sometimes it can mean that you're in overdrive. Sometimes it can mean that you're taking on more than you think that you can. Sometimes it's just like an overload. Like you need to take a step back, analyze what you're doing and things like that, and know how to proceed forward, whether that's removing or adding to your situation. So it's very important when you're coming across a 10 card to take a look at the illustration. Just because it represents wholeness doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be in a positive light. I did find the 5 card. I found the 5 of Swords. Every time you come across a card that's a 5, it's going to represent difficulty. It's going to represent like still, incapable of moving forward, maybe heartbreak, maybe distraught, loss, things like that, depending on the element of that 5 card. This card is the 5 of Swords. Looking at that card, it's like he wants to give up. And you see that there's swords laying on the ground. He's holding a few swords. It's like as if he's feeling that his work is not good enough, and he's ready to walk away. It's definitely important to look at the illustration, look at the facial expressions of the human figures in your card, and not just the number of the card, because the picture is going to tell your picture, okay? Whether you're working with the Rider-Waite Tarot deck or the Wild Unknown, okay? The illustration tells a story. Your intuition is definitely important when it comes to interpreting the cards. Each deck comes with a guidebook. And those guidebooks, sometimes the interpretations are going to be a little different than what you're feeling inside and what's in here. So it's best to always go with your gut feeling, your intuition, thoughts, words, scenic pictures. Things are going to come up in your head when you're faced with certain cards in your reading, and it's always best to go with that feeling, because that feeling always triumphs what the book is telling you, okay? Also, when it comes to learning tarot, like I mentioned before, it's always good to start with tarot spreads that are going to be just like 3 card pulls, which represents like past, present, future. There are tarot readers that deal with cards that are, they'll specify cards in the upright or in reverse and things like that. It's never a good idea, and this is my opinion, to deal with cards in reverse when you're learning tarot. If you're going to get a card that's not in the upright, just keep moving with the card being in the upright and the meaning being direct. You're going to confuse and overwhelm yourself if you're attempting to do readings where you're dealing with cards in reverse and trying to figure out the opposite meaning of the interpretation, or it's just going to make things very complex. It's going to leave you confused, and it's going to make it very difficult for you to learn. And if you're going to deal with cards in reverse, I say that it's best to deal with those type of cards later on in your tarot journey. It's just going to make things a lot more easier when you tie that in to being a little bit more experienced. That is definitely my opinion. If you are wanting to give yourself a challenge when it comes to learning tarot, by all means go ahead and do so. But these tips and tricks that I am giving you is going to make things more seamlessly, and it's just going to help you learn a lot faster. Okay? Some cards have colors, some don't. Some are just black and white. Sometimes when it's a black and white card, it can be a little more tainted. It can be more of a negative impact or a negative feeling. Not always, but sometimes it is. So on top of paying attention to the illustration, it's always best to look at the colors and the patterns and the lines that you're also seeing in the tarot decks that you're working with, okay? Take it one day at a time. 1 card pull a day is my best advice. Just pull 1 card, get a feel of the energy for the day, and that's going to help you best learn tarot instead of overflowing your brain with so much energy in one sitting. But before you do your one card pull a day, like I mentioned before, take some time, go over your deck, go over the colors, spend a few minutes on each card. Look at the card, look at the facial expressions on the human figures. Put yourself in this card. It's the best way you're going to learn. Get a feel of what this card means specifically to you, regardless of what the guidebook tells you. The guidebook is very helpful, but you always want to go with your intuition and what's inside, because that's going to give you the most intuitive reading, and it's going to, your interpretations are what matter, okay? Because you're the one that are in control of the cards, okay? So this is going to help the cards work with you and not against you, okay? So just take time going over your cards. Each card, whether it's a major arcana card or a minor arcana card, spend time with your deck. You do not want to start giving readings, whether it's 2 cards or 3 cards. Spend time with your deck first before you start giving readings, okay? Otherwise, you're going to leave yourself confused. You're always going to be checking back with the guidebook for that confirmation of what you're seeing in front of you, which is fine. But take time to get to know your deck before you start doing readings, okay? If there's anything that I missed out, leave a comment in the description of this video, and I will try my best to answer your questions to the earliest of my convenience, because I am very responsive. And if you haven't seen the original video on how to learn tarot, the description, I will link that in this video, okay? I am new to YouTube, so there will be more videos to come. Please like, share, and subscribe this video, as it may be helpful for you or someone close to you. So until next time, this is Lena with Intuitively She with another tarot video, and I look forward to speaking with you guys soon. Have a great day. Bye.